So I touched on it earlier, Morris. You are the property expert in the room. Why don't you give us a little property rundown on what's happening in London right now?
Sure. Liam, to fully understand what's been going on in the how COVID has affected the property market, I'll take you back to January 2020, which is now 9 months ago. January 2020, we came in, leisure market was strong, multiples were expanding, premiums were very high. Premiums are the key money to buy the leases of these premises. Key money was high, rents were going up, which not everyone wants to hear, but the fact that rents were going up and the key money was showing how buoyant the industry was, and it really was. January 2020, we came in with a really buoyant market. March came, COVID came, like a tsunami. I mean, it absolutely wiped people out. I would say that the effect was within 2 weeks of lockdown, well, immediately of lockdown being mentioned, then the effects were devastating. What it's really done to the property market immediately was that the premium market, being the key money, which was always a very big factor in purchasing these kind of leases, had been completely wiped out. So to give you an example, a Mayfair restaurant or a central London restaurant fully fitted would be attracting a premium in the region of anything from 500 to £1 million, so just to be able to buy the benefit of having that lease in that location with that fit out. That same premises at the moment would now be on a reverse premium, meaning that the tenant, to get out of the liability, would actually pay someone a bit of rent, pay someone to take their lease, to take away their liability. Some may ask, what's the purpose of that? The purpose of that is maybe that these tenants have got a large rent deposit that they want returning, whereas if they go into liquidation and they hand the keys back to the landlord, they will lose this large rent deposit. So this is a way of saving their rent deposit. So that's the immediate effect. People are asking me, a lot of people ask me, are rents going to come down because of it as well, because of what's happened with the premium factor? I think that the government have, in a way, have done a very good job with enforcing lease moratoriums, debt enforcement moratoriums, meaning that a landlord can't take possession of any premises, any hospitality premises at the moment for non-payment of rent. So a tenant could carry on trade. Yes, we've spoken about the restrictions that are in place. So don't think that all of a sudden it's so easy for a tenant because they're not paying rent. A lot of landlords are putting them on holiday periods at the moment. They're deferring the payments so that when the moratoriums are lifted by the government, which at the moment is scheduled to be from January, they've just recently extended it. It was going to be from now, from today's date, and they've just recently extended it to January. So when the moratoriums are lifted, that means that these, at that point, maybe we will see, come January, February, March, we will see a lot of these premises going back to landlords, which means in turn rents will come down to reflect premiums as well. Look, with every action, there's a consequence, and the flip side of this is that never, ever has there been such a good time for independents, entrepreneurs that wanted to start their first hospitality, whether it be a restaurant, whether it be a bar, whether it be a nightclub. Never, ever has it been the most perfect time. Why do I say that? A, because of what I went through with the premium value being knocked out now. So there is no key money anymore. So anyone that was looking pre-COVID was expecting to pay a very big key money value. Now no longer. Also, many of the chains, as we've seen, have had to do CVAs. They've had to go into liquidation. So the big chains are not expanding. If anything, they're lowering their profile in the market. So that means that because of their lack of expansion, a lot of the time previous to COVID, entrepreneurs and independents never had a face in to get any of these prime sites, whether it be central London, whether it be prime in neighbourhood locations. They never had a look in. Now they will get a look in. Now they hold the cards because they have now got investment, whether it be private investment or whether it be bank investment or whether it be their own way funding that they've got. They now hold the cards with landlords because they're now able. Landlords now do not want empty premises, so they are now the ones that are in control here, which is for the first time ever. I've been in the market 20 years. I know I don't look it, but 20 years, and it's never been such a great market for the independents. So that's who we're talking to. We're also talking to a lot of internationals at the moment, using the opportunity. I think the international mentality is London is always such a prime spot for hospitality. And now the internationals are realizing that like now's the best time to come and expand in this market, or expand their territory into the market, because of the lack of premium, because of the rents that are coming down, because of the opportunity that there is an influx of property on the market. You've got all the Pizza Expresses, the Asks, the Prezzos, the GBKs that are all fully fitted sites, yeah, that have gone back to landlords in a lot of cases, and now they're being put back on the market. Yes, at the moment with a bit of a lower rent, but the rent's not reflecting how much yet, because of the fact that the premium value is zero. And it will get stronger and stronger for that type of person. So that is what we're seeing at the moment.
There's going to be people watching this live right now, and they're going to be screaming, wanting advice. Are you giving out free advice at the moment to people in the industry?
Absolutely, absolutely. At the moment, we are very much an operator-led agency. Yeah, so we are very much in touch with the operator market. So you've got two types of operators at the moment. You've got one operator that have got an existing premises, and they want advice of how to limit their liability, because at the end of the day, lease on any premises, whether it be hospitality, office, retail, whatever you've got, it's a liability. It's a rent that you've got to keep paying. Yeah, so we're giving advice to people to limit their liability, whether that be to maybe either go through a CVA if they're a chain, either go through a liquidation, or alternatively negotiate with the landlord, and we will help negotiate with their landlord as well in order to limit their liability as much as possible. That's one type. Then you've got the other type of operator that wants to take advantage of this market, that wants to take premises, and we're giving advice on that, on the best way possible that they can come into the London market in doing so, because many of them, being independents and entrepreneurs, they need a bit more holding hand and a bit more understanding of how to cope. As long as they factor in that for the next 6 to 9 months, which is what we're foreseeing, that the trade is going to be very erratic, yeah, and at least for 6 to 9 months. As long as they can factor that in, then it's a good time to come into the market.
There's certainly a good time to come into the market, and the investment opportunities are amazing right now, as you've touched on. And I love the fact that you mentioned about international coming here to make their flagship. We've seen that a lot, haven't we, in the last 12 months? Big brands coming over here.
I will tell you something, Liam, that I strongly believe that within the next in 2 years' time, please God, when COVID becomes just a history lesson in schools, is you're going to see a market, that is going to be full of independence. It's going to have some really exciting new concepts in London. Some of these prime sites that you're so used to seeing the usual operators in there, it's going to be no more. You're going to see new, exciting operators. And as you know, you yourself through the titles, you're speaking to so many new individuals. Some people have got some fantastic ideas, and they really have. And now is the time to get. And we're really helping nurture that type of operator at the moment.
It's good you mentioned nurture, because that's one of the main things the Hospitality Titans do. We're all about creating new concepts and looking after the new talent in the industry. So if you have got a concept and you've seen a site, but you might not have the expertise, come and speak to the panel today and the rest of the board, which we'll share later. Thanks very much, Morris. That was amazing. Thank you.